Good afternoon. Robin Miller here, your winking chef. I thought I'd come on here this afternoon and show you what we're having for dinner tonight. You know, sometimes I cook some really bad stuff, but it sure is good. And we like to eat healthy most of the time. So I've got a little recipe I want to share with you this afternoon. It's quick and it's easy and it's oh so good for you. And regardless of what you're eating, most of the time, unless you're just eating a ton of fried food or something like that, most of the time it's really not what you eat, it's how much you're eating. And so that portion control, we want to look about that. We want to pay attention to that. So anyway, this evening, what I'm going to do is, and I've made this a couple of times, and my family just love it. Let me read you exactly. It is called Collards and White Bean Brown Rice Skillet. It's more of a real hearty soup. It turns out to be that. And again, as I tell you all the time, if I put a vegetable in here you don't much care for, like the onions, don't put them in. But I will tell you this, in this one particular instance, the onions, the collards. Now I've got curly kale today. It's not collards, it's curly kale. So you can switch that up. I have made this with the dinosaur kale. So you can switch it up. You can use spinach. But anyway, I got at the store what they had, and that was curly kale. So that's what I'm using. So we're going to start with about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Let me put a little bit more oil in here of extra virgin olive oil. And I'll tell you, most of the time, my recipes, the recipe itself calls to serve 4, and I almost never feed 4 people, so I usually double the recipe. So that's what I'm doing today, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it calls for. I'm doubling it. So I have got 1 medium onion chopped up right here. And we're going to put that in there in our skillet, and we're going to stir it a little bit. As soon as I find the, oh, I like that spoon. You know, I'm a particular over my wooden spoon. So we're just going to spin this onion around here just a little bit. As you can see, it's all chopped up. Now we're going to cook, I'm going to turn that down a little bit. And we are going to add our kale. And what I've done is it said to buy 1 bunch, so I've doubled it. So let's call it 1 bunch. And I cleaned it and took the stems out. You don't have to. If you like those stems, then by all means keep them in there. And we'll put about half that in there. And chop it. Chop it really good. And then we're just going to stir this around in here all 4, 5, 6 minutes. Until those onions get tender. And you know, this comes together real quick. It's going to cook about 50 minutes after we get everything in. And what we're going to do is just get that kale wilted down some. And look there, that's happening really fast. You see that? How fast that happened? Okay, let's go ahead and put the rest of our curly kale in and get it wilted down. All right, we'll get this out of the way. All the dogs carrying on. Nala? Well, I had to see about all that. Nala was barking and carrying on. You know, she thinks she's a big, bad guard dog. One of the boys came, Jack, came over to spend some time with Tucker, and she went to carrying on, so I had to see what was going on. Okay, so I've got my 1 onion chopped, my 1 bunch, and like I said, this is curly kale, and 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. So, we're just going to stir this around just like that. I'm telling you, this doesn't take any time to put together, and then with an occasional stir, you can go on about your business, and this cooks itself. Okay, so we're just going to cook this for a little bit. I hope everybody had a great Mother's Day last Sunday. I had a great Mother's Day, and I hope you did. And hope your mothers had a good Mother's Day, and I hope if your mother has passed on, and I hope you had a good time remembering her and the things she did and what she taught you. I did. We sat around and we talked about our mothers, our favorite thing we remember about our mothers. My mother was an avid gardener. She loved to garden almost to the point sometimes that's the only thing that mattered was that garden and what she was doing. And she would enlist anybody's help. When she needed some help doing something, she would enlist help. And I guess that's where I get my gardening gene is from my mother. Although my mother would plant things and the next year come back and move them. I told them on that video, I remember one year she had a walking stick tree. And she said, now you've got to come and help me move this. So she had dug up around it, and we got that out of the ground, and it had to be 8 or 9 feet tall, and it took both of us to drag it across the yard, probably no more than 6 feet to plant it someplace else. But we got it done, and she was happy, and that's what matters right there. Okay, so I think my vegetables are good and tender. I believe that they are. So I'm going to add some fresh cracked pepper to this. Just going to put some of that pepper in there. Okay. And you know I love the pepper. So I'm going to put some in there. And then I'm going to put some salt. I'm going to start with about a teaspoon. And I'm just eyeballing it. That looks like about a teaspoon, so I'm going to put that in there. Stir that around. Now, to this, we are going to add a cup of rice. Long grain brown rice. Brown rice is supposed to be better for you, and that's usually what we use around here. We never buy white rice anymore. So we're going to put our rice in there. And like I said, that was a cup of long grain brown rice. So we're putting that in there. Now, let's just stir it up a little bit. Get it all stirred together. And now we're going to add our chicken stock. You can add chicken stock or you can have vegetable stock, whichever you prefer. But we're just going to stir this up just a little bit. Get our sides raked down good. And we are going to add 2½ cups of our stock. Oh my. Let me go ahead and add the rest here. And this is homemade stock. You know, I've told y'all before, whenever possible, I use homemade stock. I make a lot of it. I just hate when I do stuff with chicken and I know that's going to make a good stock. I hate to throw it out. So I don't throw it out. I keep it. Okay. Now, if you all, I know you can see that. And that's going to be our soup. Now, what we're going to do is put this lid on it. And it called to put a tight fitting lid on it. I've got that turned to about medium. And we're going to cook this. Let me tell you how long we're going to cook it. Okay. We are going to cook this 45 to 50 minutes or until that rice gets done. That's what we're going to do until that rice is tender. We're probably going to stop it at about 40 minutes and add our beans because this calls for white beans. So that's what we're going to do, and I'll be back with you in a little while when we get it done. You have a good day. Okay, I am back, and our rice is tender. Our greens are done. We're going to add our white beans. And that is 2 cans, 15½ ounce cans of white beans. Man, doesn't this look good? This is going to be delicious. We're having a wonderful supper. I have got a little multi-grain bread we're going to add with this. And this is just about the right consistency. We don't need to add any more water. We're going to put the lid on this and let this cook about 5 more minutes, and we will be ready to eat. Anyway, this is a simple, easy recipe. It's good for you, and I hope you'll give this a try. Give it a try and see what your family likes. You just put every kind of greens you want in it. This is what my choice today. It was what was readily available. Anyway, I'm Robin Miller, your Winking Chef. Give this a try and remember to like and share. And you have a good afternoon.